Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this presentation, which I believe is the best opportunity you will ever encounter this year. This is a SharedSignups.com presentation, and we are all about personal power and personal development. You know, who doesn't want to improve their personal power? And I think a lot of us should know by now that personal development is the route to personal power. So let us begin. Before I begin, I want to remind us about all the things we have not been able to do when we wanted to do them and how it made us feel, and all the things that we were able to do when we wanted to do them and how it made us feel. That provides a window into the contrast of the experience between those who have a lot of personal power and those who do not have a lot of personal power. And so let us proceed. You see, there is a very huge difference between those who have personal power and those whose personal power has been repressed. When you have a thriving personal power, when your personal power is thriving, I would say, you can make your own choices from an array of choices available to you. But with limited personal power, even the limited choices available to you, you cannot fully exploit them. So even if the world is free, there is a restriction to the things that you can do. So what factors determine your personal power? We know the answer is money. Well, I will not say it's the only answer, but it is one major factor because money buys everything that we use on the planet. Money is the medium for exchanging anything of value that we want. Transportation costs money. Education costs money. Power costs money. Comfortable furniture costs money. Everything costs money. So when you want to decide or choose to do anything, the amount of money at your disposal determines if you can do those things or not. So it determines the array of choices available to you. Now, this is a quote from Zig Ziglar. It's a popular quote, and he was a very conservative man. I believe he was a Christian too. He said, "Money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen in the gotta have it scale." And it's true. We have been wrongly programmed, it has been said over and over again, to be timid about money and the reality of the need for money. That shows how programming can lead us not in the best direction. We lived when we were growing up seeing the real need for money, how money was what was needed for everything that we needed, but yet we were taught to be shy and timid about confronting that need and taking care of it wholly and fully. So that was a disconnect. It was a disconnect in the training that many of us had. Few were lucky to have a different kind of training. And so this is what money does for us. It provides us a life of options. And you see, when you are experiencing personal power, truth be told, it is the life of options that it gives you that helps you express that power. You have a choice to do this, and that. You are not restricted. So when you have enough money or more than enough money, which is the recommended thing, more than enough, you live where you want to live, you vacation where you want to vacation, you drive what you want to drive, you wear what you want to wear, you work on what you want to, not necessarily what someone else thinks you should be working on today, tomorrow, next week, or next month. And also you school where you want to. Your kids go to school where you want them to. So those things are clearly the freedoms that money brings to us. So that brings us to the question, how do you get money? And when it comes to how do you get money, I strongly recommend that you do not do what we see here. Don't do this. Don't chase after money, because when you chase after money, you realize in this picture that this fellow is chasing after money that he is not going to get, because the structure is set up that he is not going to get it. But he will chase it all the way to the grave. Now that is something we must not do. We have to ensure we don't do. And we can see a lot of older people and the path that they have chosen because of the training that they had. And that path seems to be leading to something similar to this. We have to make a choice in our lives. Whenever we recognize that that's the path that we may be on ourselves, we have to make a choice to change it. So the second picture on the right is basically the same thing. There is the pot of gold or the bag of money kept way at a distance, and this corporate fellow is going after it. The only problem is he's going after it walking on a treadmill, which means he will never get it. That's what happens to a lot of people in the corporate space. Not all, but the majority. They're going to run that corporate treadmill perpetually and never get it until they make a different plan for themselves, because that setup is already rigged. So that begs the question, what do we do to get money instead? I would like to add that money is like a lady. If you chase her, she puts on airs and graces, but you have to do something else. Anyway, how do we get money? We should do this instead. We should attract money. Is that not a better deal? Now take a look at everyone who is very, very rich. I mean, people whose source of funds we know, not a politician, right? You can see how they have attracted money, because just like the fisherman goes to find what the fish he wants, like the kind of food they eat, the kind of bait that's fitted for them. And if he gets it, so long as the fish are there and you have a hungry school of fish there, they're going to come and ravage his hook and he's going to catch fish. So we should attract it. We should attract money. And there are few people who attract money who know how to, or who even understand that the counterintuitive process of not chasing money is what starts to make you have money, because you start working on the flip side of the coin, which is money attraction activities. So who wouldn't like to have money attracted to them? All of us would. So now, what are the other factors that determine personal power? I will say boldly, without any form of doubt, without any iota of doubt, that knowledge does that. They say knowledge is power. Of course, the people say the application of knowledge is power. It is true. But if you do not have the knowledge in the first place, you cannot apply it. You have to have it and then apply it. So they go together. You see, they go together. So money and knowledge go together, because people operating on a certain level, it's what they know that makes them operate on that level. When you know better, when you have different skills, superior skills, you now start getting superior results. In fact, when you know things that change your view, your approach on a fundamental level, that may not be a skill, but that may be a thought skill, I'll put it that way, a mental skill, or a view, a different, more empowering view. You can act better. So in other words, knowledge on every level. The knowledge in the first place that you have to spend your working life attracting money instead of chasing money is life-changing on its own if you work on that instead. So knowledge is power. It's the doorway to power. And like I said, this is a shared sign-ups opportunity and a shared sign-ups presentation. And so we are actually SharedSignups.com, and we are a portal for your personal empowerment and your personal development. These are the things we do through knowledge, sharing knowledge, applying it. We help ourselves acquire superior personal power and give ourselves a life of more options. Yes, that is what we do. So what are the things that can give us or help us get more options in life, increase our personal power? There are lots of things, but you see, you never really go far away from the fundamentals. In short, you stick with the fundamentals. And the two things I've talked about right now are core fundamentals. But when we go further to try to implement, we have to look at what are those beautiful vehicles that can help us get where we want to get to. And we have chosen two of those vehicles. Those vehicles are travel and real estate. These areas of personal development are key to the personal fulfillment of a person on earth. Because number one, you cannot exercise your personal God-given right of freedom of movement if you can't travel. Travel exposes you to opportunities that you do not see within your own enclave. As a matter of fact, as I speak right now, there are people in another country that need stuff in your country, but you probably do not know. They need something that is much more cheaper in your country and that will save them millions of dollars if they could just get access to it. One of the reasons why you do not know about it is that perhaps they are locked away in another language. That's just one thing that travel does for you. It makes you see things that others don't see. It gives you a bird's eye view of the lay of the land. Anyway, I'll come to that later. The other thing is real estate. You see, there are lots of things you can do to make money on the planet, but real estate has remained an instrument of choice for storing and generating massive wealth over decades. Over the decades, it has remained so because it is stable. The land upon which you're standing right now has been there for thousands of years. Other men probably walked on those lands right now, the very soil upon which the building you are stands. That's how ancient land is, and that's how it stays. Doesn't crash like the stock market sometimes crashes. And that is why the wealthy have been wise enough to know that real estate is a fantastic vehicle for wealth creation. So let me look at some of the travel solutions that we have. But first, let me talk about the reasons for traveling. I've talked about your personal power when you travel, right? I'll tell you a story which I like to share. The rapper, this popular rapper who got married to Beyonce, his name is, what's his name, please? Oh, yes, I remember his name. He's Jay-Z. He became a billionaire not long ago, and one major factor that made him a billionaire is that on that level in the music industry, they are high-level businessmen, and of course they have financial advisors, they have lawyers, and his team met him and said, there's a small company in Sweden, I believe it was, either Sweden or Denmark, and it's a company that produces, I think it was it was a music streaming company, something around that. And they said, we think the team is good. We think you should buy it. So Jay-Z bought his ticket, flew over there, concluded his deal, bought it, came back to America. Now, over the course of a few years, the value of the company really grew, it blossomed. His advisors were right. He became a billionaire in net worth because the value of that company really skyrocketed. So the question I'm going to ask you is, if you were in Nigeria competing with Jay-Z to get a piece of that company, don't you think Jay-Z would have gone, sealed his deal, and returned to America while you were still waiting to get an interview date? Don't you think so? So that is why travel is important. That is why travel freedom is important. Now, visas are given to people around the world unequally. Depending on the country of which you are a citizen, you get a certain kind of treatment. And visas, although they never existed before, they are good, they're not bad. We have to point out that visas are a man-made thing. Before, people could just go where they wanted to and explore, interact with other people, accept their ways of life, live with them. That is why Europeans came here. That is why people in North Africa and even in not so far North Africa migrated to the Middle East. That is why America was discovered by the Europeans, That's where all that movement took place at the time. But now this man-made restriction is here. And we know that the fortunes of Nigeria as a country, when it comes to traveling internationally, those fortunes are really, really poor. And it makes your stay within Nigeria, as a person who owns a Nigerian passport, it makes your stay within this geographical location like a prison. So you have this false sense of freedom, pseudo freedom, when you live here, when you live in Nigeria, and you start learning how you are not as free as you thought on earth. When you want to travel, you start learning how hard it is to just travel for a vacation, or just travel and get your kid in school, get them situated in school you want them to, and then come back. You see all of that. And if you really, really need to leave the country for even medical reasons, the same thing. You see? So this is why travel is important for our personal power. We also know that travel is important for our kids. We want them to have better options in life. If you look at the Nigerian international stars doing well in different fields of endeavor, it's because their parents at some point made a decision to move to another clime, and now out of the various options available to them, they chose one in which they were more properly nurtured, and they excel fantastically today. They are the top of their game. In some instances, they are on top of the world in whatever they choose to do. We know their names. Also, we know definitely that traveling can improve your career business-wise, and even if you're not a business kind of person, it can also improve your career very greatly, because you're working with better people, top-notch people in a more organized setting. So that being said, these are the travel solutions we bring. We help you with the Canadian Express entry process, the entire process that has become popular over time. And we help you with education in Canada. We give you the right guide so that you do not get misled, you do not lose your money to people who are unscrupulous or who don't really know the process and they just want to make some money. We also help you through the process of getting an education in the UK, that is immigration to the UK through education. We know that that's really popular now. A lot of people are doing that, but we also foresee that things are going to change very quickly, because Nigeria is the third is a country with third highest population of citizens who have come into the UK on account of education reasons and have come in with a lot of dependents. So Nigeria is not the first. China is number one with about 100 and something thousand dependents, sorry, and then India is next. Nigeria just has about, I think, 40 something thousand dependents that came in with them within the last 1 year or so. and we also help you through. We help you to get a setup that gives you a second citizenship. You get a second citizenship when you give birth in a certain country. And when you have that citizenship, guess what? You are free from the restrictions of the Nigerian passport when you want to travel abroad. Because with that country's passport, you can travel to 120 countries, and a lot of them you travel visa free. As a matter of fact, all the European Union countries you can travel to visa free, and many other countries you can travel to, sorry, visa free or with a visa on arrival arrangement. And that is powerful. It means if you want to leave Nigeria, you just pocket your Nigerian passport and stick out that country's passport. And guess what? You don't need a visa interview date. You only need to buy your ticket and hop away. Nigerians are doing this. The main way in which Nigerians have been doing this has been through citizenship by investment, which can be very expensive. But when you give birth to a child in the country that we guide you to do, you do not need to spend all that money, and you become a permanent resident and also um, a citizen. As a matter of fact, you become a permanent resident immediately, and not too far down the line, you become a citizen. So those are the solutions we provide as far as travel is concerned, and we'll be looking towards providing you solutions for schooling in other countries in Europe. We hope we can get you that. In Europe, countries that are less expensive than the UK, that will cost just €1,000 when it comes to your tuition, €1,000 per session. Now compare that with £14,000. You can see how much money you are saving, and you can see how much money that you have saved, how much that saved money can do for you. So when it comes to the real estate solution, how do we incorporate real estate? And I know this is something that a lot of people have admired, playing in the real estate field and actually profiting properly from it. What we do is we give you what we call the Successful Realtor Video Pack, and it's a hands-free step-by-step system for attracting qualified real estate leads continually throughout the year. So how do you make money in real estate? Now, the way you make money in real estate is exactly how we recommended you make money before. It's by attracting the buyers. There are developers in real estate. There are people who do all sorts of things with real estate. Some people sell building materials, right? But you see, one of the sweetest spots of entry, the sweetest spots through which, or points through which to enter into the real estate space that won't cost you much money at all, is being a connector of buyers to sellers. And you can do this with dignity that is not like what people in the streets face, where they have to go out in the street, print complimentary cards, and ask people if they want to buy real estate. Tell them, hey, I'm into real estate and all whatnot. So the sweet spot is through connecting people. What it costs you is so little, and the upside is so big. So instead of thinking, oh, when am I going to have millions of naira, billions of naira to own my own estate, to start the real estate business, you don't even have to do any of that. Just be a fantastic connector of buyers to sellers and make your millions. And that is what the Successful Realtor Video Pack helps you to do. It's something that we have put together and has worked fantastically for us. And when you have this pack, this is what you get. You get a guide for 247 exposure of your property listings. You get exposure to only those who are more likely to buy, those who have the means to buy. You don't need to rely on WhatsApp statuses anymore, as most people do. They put things on their WhatsApp status. You don't need to rely on your colleagues your friends and your family to buy from you. You have a dedicated team to follow up on your prospects when they have indicated interest in any property that you have. They follow up to close the sale for you. And then you have an inspection schedule for these people over the course of the week. You don't have to do this yourself. There's a team dedicated to inspecting, getting your prospects to inspections and working them through on your behalf. All you do is collect your commissions when the deals have been closed. Isn't that beautiful? But now let me just show you what results I have personally gained while using the very instructions you get in this successful realtor video pack. Now, this is my messenger on Facebook. You see all these people here, I never knew them from Adam. Never knew them. They all contacted me on account of real estate. All of them. I have blotted out their names so that you cannot see who they are. You see this other set of people? They all contacted me. Now, because of space and time, I didn't add all of them. But who wouldn't like people to reach out to them like this and saying, how much does the property cost? What's the location? When can I come for inspection? Who wouldn't love that? I think everyone would love that. Now, these are the conversations I've had with some of those people, because once they come on Facebook, sometimes they come over to WhatsApp and have conversations with me. And if you look closely at these conversations, you see they're asking for information about inspection, where the office is for the office of the real estate company, and I'm saying, hey, our office is in such and such a place. And those are the kind of conversations that you want to have without stepping out of your office, without stepping out of your house. These conversations come your way. Now, that's not the only one. These are a few more conversations. And that's what any realtor wants. In fact, that's what any business person wants. He wants to have discussions with people, strangers, that say, hey, I'm interested in what you're selling. How can I get to see it? How can we go about this business? And in the middle here, this is a conversation with one of our companies, the real estate companies we work with, and they're just trying to alert me and tell me, hey, I have commissions I have not yet withdrawn, you know. And then I think I said I will withdraw it later this week. That's what I replied there. So it works. This has worked for me, and I've received commissions, and I will continue to receive commissions from real estate sales using the pack that we have for you in our membership area. So we offer this value and more to all our esteemed partners. And I think you will agree with me that this helps us make money on the one side and helps us have more freedom as people on the earth to have more choices. One of the things you get with having a second citizenship or having more freedom of travel is that you can have a foreign education with ease. Your children can have a foreign education with ease. When they are having a foreign education, they do not have to pay the kind of fees that other foreigners pay. For example, if an American is choosing to school in, say, South Africa, for example, the American is going to pay more in tuition fees than American citizens are going to pay. Sorry, than South African citizens are going to pay. So let us say you become an American citizen, for example. Your kids are not going to pay fees that apply to foreigners. They will have an American education. However, they will not pay the fees that Nigerians pay when they go to school abroad or in America. They will pay the fees for citizens. You see, so it helps in several ways that we cannot just keep on mentioning. We can't go on mentioning. If you go on mentioning them, we may keep on talking here, we may start talking about even the 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 escape from things we may not like in our home countries. So these are the things we make available to you. Now, the question is, how do you partner with us? How do you partner with us? And the truth of the matter is that partner with us is simple. To partner with us, you make a one-time sign-up fee. You pay a one-time sign-up fee for continued exposure to all the opportunities we add. Because what happens is that the fee remains the same, but what we bring on board keeps on expanding and increasing as we make our community a community of people who learn, earn, and become more free. So the one-time sign-up fee for SharedSignups.com is $50, and we use an exchange rate of 600 Naira to the dollar. Now this puts the Naira equivalent of $50 at 30,000 Naira. It's 30,000 Naira one-time fee. Now it's important to know that 20% of $50 is $10, and that 600 Naira to the dollar, 20% of $50 is 6,000 Naira. That's important to note, and you'll see why in the next slide. So this is really unprecedented as far as I'm aware in the Nigerian space. You see, we take nothing, not one kobo of the sign-up fees. You're not going to see an account where you're supposed to pay your sign-up fees on SharedSignups.com. All the sign-up fees go straight to members. 100% of the one-time sign-up fee from new members is paid to older members. New members spread their payments across the last 5 members in their sign-up ancestry, and each of these 5 members receives 20% of the one-time sign-up fee. Now, once all members in your sign-up ancestry have paid an acknowledged receipt of that 20% of the one-time sign-up fee, which is 6,000, you become active and you have access to our membership vault, in which all this valuable stuff is stored. You also have access to our weekly meetings and weekly trainings for only paid members. As a matter of fact, we have already done day 1 of the second citizenship path, the pathway to having a second citizenship, even if you're Nigerian. So there's an incentive for partnering with us. There's a reward structure, and I would like you to see what it is. You see, we have a unique structure, a unique reward structure that is beautiful, because in the first place, we're not taking a couple of the sign-up fees. You have access to us on an ongoing basis. If there's something new that comes on board, you still don't pay for it, because your one-time access fee gives you access to that thing that we've brought on board, that powerful information and the trainings associated with it. So the unique implication of the fact that we don't collect a kobo and you pay to people who have signed up before you is that you do not need to wait for a certain number of signups before you get paid, because as you get on board, other people are getting on board too, and they are paying you. They are paying you for them to become active. So as they are signing up, as they sign up and pay you to become active, you are getting paid. Payment is in real time because new members pay older signups within their sign-up ancestry. In some businesses that use a referral system, you have to wait for a certain number of sign-ups or a certain amount of money to have been accumulated. In this case, you don't. With shared sign-ups, you don't. You are getting paid in real time as new members are paying you because they want to become members of the community. The second thing is that new signups are arranged in a first 5x5 matrix, and this means that your first 5 signups, after you have gotten them on board, every other one other than them is first under any of those your first five signups that don't have up to 5 signups. So I'll take that again. Because we have a 5 by 5 first matrix, it means that if you sign up someone else into the system after you have 5 people in the system automatically looks for someone that came in after you who does not have up to 5 people signed up and places that person there. So that is how and why we have a first 5 by 5 system. We have a situation where you cannot have more than 5 people directly placed under you in the matrix system, because everyone that is beyond 5 is forced to go under someone who has less than 5. So the third thing to note is that it is this ancestry from this first matrix structure that forms the matrix, that forms the ancestry, I would say, that is tracked. It forms the ancestry that is tracked. The 5 by 5 structure forms the ancestry that is tracked, such that you are being paid by new members who see you in that ancestry. And by the time finally you have received payment from all possible new signups that fall within the 5 generations after you, your total number of received payments will be 3,905 payments, which means the total number of payments you would have received would be 3,905 times 6,000, which is 23,430,000 naira. Now let me ask you a question. Are there up to 3,905 people in your state who would like to have access to fantastic travel information that makes it easier for them to create a better life for themselves and their kids? Are there up to 3,905 people in your state that may want access to that kind of information? Are there up to 3,905 people in your state that would love to have a system that gets people reaching out to them? Remember, I talked about attraction instead of chasing after, and you saw my example, right? Are there up to 3,905 people who would love to have that experience when it comes to real estate or any other business that they are involved in? I think we both know the answer to that question. Everybody that does business in Nigeria, either full-time or as a side hustle, will be very happy to have strangers they don't know reach out to them every week, asking them about their products and saying, I want to buy. So this is a graphic that shows the reward structure. On your first level, you have 5 people and they pay you cumulatively $50. This is the way the first matrix is arranged. And when they all have got their 5 people, you have 25 people on that level, and 25 people on that level paying $10 gives you $250 in payments. That's the total you would have received by the time this level is full. And here, by the same calculation, you have 125 payments of $10 each, which gives you $1,250 by the time that level is full. Here you have 625 payments, so the total you're going to get here is $6,250. And then finally, at the final stage, by the time everyone signing up on this final stage has paid you $10, you would have received $31,250. And that is why the grand total is $39,050, and in naira that is actually 23,430,000 naira. So the money comes in real time. You're going to be paid on different levels. You'll be getting paid on the third level while you're still getting paid on the second, or sorry, on the fourth level while you're still getting paid on the third or on the second. So the payments will just come from all the levels. However, once all the positions have been filled, you will no more appear on anybody's list for payment. In other words, once the generations have been full, once you've received payments up to 3,905 times, you will not appear in anyone's sign-up ancestry anymore to receive any payment. Now, there's one more thing I need to mention here. I'd like to mention that when we train you to sell real estate, if you get others in here and we, along with you, train them to get the results that you are getting, whenever they sell real estate, you also get a commission. And that's the beauty of our system here. And that being said, I will tell you to reach out to the person who sent this video to you or who invited you to this meeting and tell them you want to sign up to be part of our community. We're always together, increasing our personal power through personal development. And before I go, this is me here. I'm Daffy Scott Irimar. I am the owner and founder of SharedSignups.com. I am a certified software developer, and this is Mr. Benga, an accountant who works with us. And finally, this is my lovely wife, Mrs. Serena Senegal Irimar, who works with us in our Thrive. Yes, so this is it. Remember to reach out to the person who showed you this video so that you can be part of this collective movement that is about to spread around your city and our country in Nigeria. So stay cool, stay blessed, and I'll see you inside our paid members meetings.